Well, hello there, friends and shavers. Dave here with Elevate Grooming, and today I wanted to show you one of our flagship companies that we're working with, a company out of Topton, Pennsylvania called Crux Supply Company. I'm doing just a kind of a simple evening shave using their pre-shave oil, and when I'm finished up with this, I'm going to use their post-shave. As you can tell, that handsome gentleman right there putting a towel on his face, that's me. Some of the fun things I notice while filming and talking about myself is, yeah, I just got a haircut, so there's not a whole lot of tan under the hairline. Let's not pay attention to that. What I'm doing here, of course, is I'm opening up the pre-shave oil. It's got a what I notice about both of these products. They're actually scented very similarly, using clary sage, bergamot, and rosewood. And I'll give you a nice close-up of the label so you can see what's going on there. The oil it's great. If you've used shave oils before, you know what to expect. It's a nice, slick feeling. I put it on before I do anything else with my shave. I want to make sure it's got time to really work in to the whiskers and soften them up. Get a nice glide path for the cream that's about to go on. Really feels good. Got just a nice, pleasant aroma. It's not overpowering. Same thing with the shaving, or excuse me, the aftershave. It just smells really nice and really pleasant. That mix they came up with really goes well together. What I'm using for this shave, you're not seeing my hands, of course, so you're going to have to just take my word for it. Is we're using just a Parazzo Green, one of their more popular ones. That is the shave cream out of a tube. If you couldn't see that for yourself, that was the tube, not the shape, not the bowl. I'm going to go ahead and mix that up. I've just got a simple Badger brush. And the other thing that you can't see there is the very expensive 88-cent porcelain bowl that I bought at Walmart that I used to mix up my shaving cream. And got to be honest, it does a pretty darn good job. So there I go. Obviously concentrating very, very hard, as you can tell by the frown lines in my forehead. I don't know if you've ever spent the time watching and talking about yourself on video. I highly recommend it for everybody. It's a very humbling experience. We're going to watch me here put some, once I get a good lather worked up, we're going to just put that on over the oil. That Parazzo is pretty good stuff too. I don't know if you've used that, but it's got a nice menthol eucalyptus, very cooling on the face. Any minute now we're gonna get that going. The hardware that I'm going to be using for this, you'll see that in a moment, is the Sledgehammer, the Merkur 39C slant, and I've got an Astra Platinum blade inside of there. That's typically what I use during the day. I don't always use the Sledgehammer. I've got about a day and a half's worth of growth, so I figured I'd get after it a little bit. And plus I wanted to take this aftershave for a spin, see what it could do after something that's a little bit tougher on the face, like the slant is. Good razor. If you've got some difficult stuff to work with, you want to take care of that. Got to clean off, we got to keep the goatee straightened out, so I want to get as much cream off of there. Make sure that things are going good. There's the hammer right there. The blade that's in there, I think I've used 2 or 3 times. Just run that under some water and just get after it. As you'll see here momentarily, I'm typically a 2-pass shaver, and I'm actually going to modify that and call it a 2.5 pass. Starting off just going with the grain, just tear that all the way down from the top of the cheeks down to the neck. One of the other things I like doing when I'm filming is have no sound, because I want to hear each and every whisker as it departs from my face from that wonderful piece of hardware there. Got it nice and slanted, running under some hot water. Nice and simple. I got to get pretty high up on my cheeks. I don't know, some of you younger guys may not have this problem. I've found as I've gotten older, I get some stray kind of thick beard hairs growing out pretty gosh darn close to my eyes. I'm not real crazy about that. I believe there may be some part wolf man. I've talked to my dad. He's a pretty hairy guy. Um, if my wife wasn't upset about me showing more skin, I would of course done this shirtless. But there's just parts of this that don't need to be shared with the world, and we could talk about that later. So here we go in for pass number 2. This one I'm actually start from the bottom of the neck. That's where my trouble spots are. You see me spend a little time just under the chin and on the sides of the goatee. That is usually where I have to spend some time getting after to get that good, what we call in the biz, the BBS, the baby butt smooth. Again, clean off the goatee. Got to keep that thing where it is. So what you'll see here, why I call this a 2.5 pass, is I don't fully lather up my face 3 times, but 2 passes doesn't quite get it. So typically what I'll do is after I finish quartering up my face, which you'll see I do left cheek, left neck, right neck, starting off with, what is that, my right neck right there. I'm using my fingers to see where is it still a little chunky, where is it still a little prickly. And I'm just going to actually dab some of the lather on my fingers, run it over that spot, and just come after it right with the razor. And that keeps me basically from having to do a 3rd pass. That's worked for me really well as long as I've been doing this. And I run that through everywhere after I get through with my 2nd pass on the fully lathered face to make sure we're baby butt smooth when we're done. Again, got some distance to cover there, going all the way down to the neckline. The back of my neck, it needs some attention too. I treat that a little bit differently because I can't see it, and I can't convince anybody in my house, even with money involved, to take care of that for me. So I've got a different approach to that. Don't know if I need to share that with the world. We could talk about that later. Again, you see me dabbing on some extra cream on my fingers, just taking that right off of the brush in the bowl, and that gets me where I need to go. Nice and happy with the left side of the neck. We're just going to work back up the face, and you'll see I'm doing an against the grain pass here, just going up to the sideburn. I've gotten pretty good. You got to be careful when you do that. You don't want to slip and run up too high and then have a very strange looking sideburn. So I, as the experienced salt and pepper haired gentleman that you see there, I've got a pretty steady hand, so I'm pretty decent with that. Again, I mentioned there's a trouble section there right on the bottom side of my beard. I got to pay a little bit more attention to. Use some of that extra cream to make sure I get that as smooth as it needs to be. Clearly, I also like having shaving cream attached to my ear because I want to do some extra cleaning when all is said and done. You'll see that here in a second. And just finishing up on the bright side, some of the same trouble areas. I think this pass was a pretty decent one. Got to do a little bit of touch up there. All of a sudden done. Now, I usually shave in the morning. I just got this Crux supplies in and really wanted to give them a good solid test. So I kind of put the spurs to it a little bit. I wasn't right after a shower. I didn't spend too much time with the hot water on my face to soften things up. And I got to say, this stuff performed really well. Like I said, the oil did a really good job of softening up the beard. I didn't spend too much time having to go back and reshave anything. I have in the past, but this stuff does a really good job. Now, since I'm finishing up, you're going to see me rinse off and stick a towel in my ear to clean out all the extra stuff that's in there. The aftershave, this is good stuff. It's nice and simple ingredients. And probably the first thing I noticed about this is you can tell that it's witch hazel based. There is alcohol in it, but it's strongly witch hazel based. And what leads me to tell you that is there's not a whole lot of burn there. There's a good look at the Crux. You do need to shake it up. It's got glycerin in it as well, which helps with the moisturizing side of the house. And giving it a good shake, you'll see when you get it, there's actually a couple little glycerin bubbles on the top. So this one needs to be shaken well before you put it on. Again, from the scent perspective, you can really smell kind of the woody rosewood. The clary sage really comes through. The bergamot, I think, is kind of evens everything out. There's not a strong bergamot smell, but it blends really well together. And the other thing I've noticed about this is it smells better when you put it on than it does coming out of the bottle. So peace, good tidings. Thanks for watching. Again, this is Dave with Elevate Grooming, and we'll see you again soon. Friends and shavers, have a good one.